Hi everyone, it's Charlotte here, and today you are getting to see little Tabby. She has definitely grown since my last video with her up close. You would have seen her in cage tours and updates and things, but I haven't really had the time at the moment or had really the motivation to film. So Tabby is here. She's trying to think how old she is now. She's definitely a few months now. Last time when I got her, she was 7 weeks, and I think it's been over a month since I have her, so I think she's around 11 or 12 or maybe even 13 weeks old. She's doing really well. She is about 542 grams now, so she's definitely getting there. A lot of her fur is very fluffy as well, and as you can see has grown a lot too. She's just an absolute sweetheart. She comes up to me for treats now. She's still a little bit wary, but that's understandable. I've not really had her that long, so she's doing really well with Finley, and they get along super well and they snuggle. And watching them like run around in the morning chasing each other, and not like in an aggressive way, in a playful way, when they're doing zoomies and stuff, it's just so sweet. So I must film that, and I think I mentioned that in possibly the last video I did with Tabby. But yeah, I definitely need to film those in the morning, don't I? Yeah. But all the pigs are really well, but I thought I'd get her out for this one, just so it could be a bit more relaxed. And probably heard the other pigs in the background. I think sometimes it gets a bit draining always filming the pigs' cages instead of showing you something a little bit different. So I've got Tabby out for this. It's not so good news. As you know from my life, I think it was life updates video, which was a few weeks ago. I'll leave a link in the description if you haven't watched it, because this will make a lot more sense if you do. I got so much lovely feedback from that, and comments, and sending all your love and all your prayers and everything, and it really meant a lot. I was quite overwhelmed, really. So that was 2 weeks ago, and since then my granny has continued to improve. She's doing super well, and she is slowly walking about. She is sitting up and things like that, and she's in a ward that's like a normal ward now. Unfortunately, only a few days ago, well, what happened really was that last week we got like, you know, good feedback from the consultants who were looking after my granddad, like the main hot doctors, who thought that he was going to pull through, and he was improving. Like, he was going, sometimes he was going up and then sometimes he was going down. His kidneys and liver started to fail, so they've put him on dialysis, and then a few days later he got septicemia, so that's poisoning of the blood, if anyone doesn't know. So obviously one of his wound sites. I mean, he was still in intensive care, and you know, they were giving him antibiotics. They were also using these special like antiseptic, or I don't know what they particularly are, but they're these type of like wound like patches they put on wounds to keep them free of bacteria and stuff, because obviously intensive care, if you get an infection, it's definitely not going to help your recovery, because normally you've got a lot of other things going on. So they try to prevent infections as much as they possibly can. He arrested one night. This was, I think, the first week. I'm trying to think. I might have already told you this. I've completely confused everything. So everything was kind of going up and down. Sometimes he was improving, and then suddenly something else would come along. It was just kind of like a roller coaster, because you just didn't know where you were at with him. And at this time he was still sedated. They started taking him out of sedation, last weekend, not the weekend that's just been, but the weekend before. So he never really woke up. He got to a stage where his eyes opened, but he wasn't speaking, and he was still very much out of it because of all of the drugs. He was not able to speak. We obviously don't know if that was because he was just under a lot with the medications, or that he had some damage to his system. So yeah, things started to, we thought it was getting better, and obviously it wasn't, and it suddenly just went down again. And this past weekend, he just slowly started deteriorating. Like, liquid was pooling in his kidneys and his liver, and they had him on a dialysis machine, but because of the pooling, it was not helping that to work and keep his kidneys going. They spoke to us on Monday. No, hang on, what day are we on? Yeah, Monday. And they said that if there's some improvement, then they will keep going within the next few days. But if there's deterioration, then we're going to have to go to plan B, where we sedate him quite heavily. So it's kind of like putting to sleep like you would an animal, but they still die by themselves, just really heavily sedated, so that he wouldn't be awake and he wouldn't feel anything and he wouldn't be in pain. And we got a call a few days ago, and they said that he had deteriorated over the night, and that meant that they had to, as long as my granny agreed, that they would put him to sleep with that sedation. And really, long story short, I mean, done the longest way of, long-winded way of saying it. I think it's because I don't want to say it, but he's gone. I'm still in shock, obviously. It's not nice. Losing my granddad is just so hard. And I just feel even worse for my mum, because she's lost her dad. And I know how close I am to my dad, and to lose just even the thought is just horrendous. And my sister, and she's so close to my granddad too. And just knowing, you're going to say the shot, honey, because everyone might want to just hear me crying and not you, because you're a little sweetie. I'm just so lucky that I have my animals, because I wouldn't be getting out of bed, I wouldn't be doing anything if it weren't for them. And I'm just, even though sometimes it could be a strain that, you know, you have to always keep cleaning up after them and that, and when you really don't feel like it, it's hard, but I wouldn't be without them, because they just keep me going, and otherwise I'd never get up in the morning and I'd just stay in bed all day. It'd be like a lazy, miserable thing. So they do bring me joy, and I'm so grateful for them. So yeah, I mean, I don't really know what's happening next, like with the funeral and everything. That's not been spoken about yet. But again, with the videos, I don't know when they're going to be out. I'm going to try to do more videos, because I feel doing something takes my mind off it. And it's not like I'm trying to forget, is that it's always been my way of coping once I lose someone, or I always want to keep my mind busy and doing something, and I think that might be one of my outlets. I'm just more worried now about my granny and how she's going to cope. Because she's lost not only her dog, but her love of her life, and they'd been married, I've lost count of how many years, but it must be about 50 or so. And I think they were only ever with each other, so it's going to be so difficult. But yeah, so I'll leave you with that. Really happy. I leave them with the best stuff, hey? The best fun stuff to listen to and to get upset about. So I'm sorry. I will try to make some more fun videos. I do want to do some more tutorials, and people have been requesting Kennel Cup ones, and I will try to do that. I'm trying to make some as well to sell at the moment, because where are you escaping to? Because that will help just take my mind off things. So we'll just have to see, won't we? Hey. I'll finally end this video because it's dragging on, hasn't it? And yeah, but thank you for all your love again, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye everyone.